Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and thanks for tuning in to another Saturday night spiritual sit down. This evening, I want to share with you the messages that the Lord God Almighty gave me to deliver concerning the coronavirus, COVID-19. That's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to do my best to put all these messages that He's given me over these last 2 weeks together and explain it to you in a way that makes most sense, okay? So if you want to stick around and learn what the Lord has given me to share with the masses about the coronavirus, the whys and the hows, tune in, okay? So let's get down into it. Coronavirus, COVID-19, SARS-2. So SARS, if you haven't looked up the acronym, it is the Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, all right? Now, we had SARS-1 back in 2003, and now we're dealing with SARS-2, which is even more aggressive and more deadly, more, damaging than the first SARS. So, a lot of people say, well, why would God, inflict human beings or, put such a virus into the world and, cause this destruction, this disruption, okay? So I want to address that. If you remember back at the beginning of 2019, as well as the end of 2019, I made 2 videos about what 2019 meant. Okay, you can go back and look at those videos on, my YouTube channel. And if you recall, 2019 equated to the number 3. The number 3 means expansion, growth, blending, okay? And I explained back at the beginning of that year why that was so important. And as I went through all of 2019, I made a series of different videos just in 2019. And I only make videos when the Lord gives me messages to say. I do not make videos just to be making videos, or to have on my YouTube channel. That's why sometimes there are gaps between when videos come out. This particular time, I haven't made a video since December because if He doesn't speak to me or deliver, or the angels deliver His messages to me to give to you, then I don't create spiritual videos. Okay, so understand that, because people have asked me, well, where are your videos? You haven't made any recently. When are you going to make your videos? And so I wait for the messages. Okay. And I do that because I'm an intuitive empath, and if you don't know what that is, Google it. As I told you before, this is a spiritual sit down, and we talk about spirituality. And so you guys can go back and look at the videos about that. But I want to keep going on moving forward with the COVID-19 videos here. So I digressed there, didn't I? All right. So anyway, back to COVID-19, the number 3 for 2019. So in those videos, I talked about how the human beings and mankind, all of us had to, do a better job about our mindsets, because you think a thought first and then you act. Okay, it's always the thought and then the action. And so all of 2019, the Lord gave us so many opportunities to start laying a different direction for ourselves, to grow in our ascension process, because the spirituality soul journey is about ascending up to Him, okay? And 2019 was the precursor to 2020, which lays the foundation and the groundwork. That's what I was talking about at the end of 2019 in that Christmas video. Well, right at Christmas time, the holiday season. And I made the video and explained that whatever you're doing in 2019, it's laying the foundation for 2020. So if however you were growing in 2019, you were setting that foundation for 2020 and that grounding work. Well, imagine that across the world, the collective. And that's what I was, I spoke to you all as individuals, and I also spoke about the collective. So just look at how much devastation occurred just in 2019 alone. And then, you can go back a few years from there. We kind of started reverting back to old ways of how people were treated, mistreated, I should say. Not really moving forward in God's greatest commandment, which is love. Okay. The world, it was, if you look at it in a large sense, you'll see the reversion. You'll see where things were reverting. You will see where things were reverting kind of backwards or stagnant, or the disparities that had started to occur. So when too much, when human beings are out of alignment, so much so, the universe will step in and start correcting. Okay. And so that is but that is what has occurred. So we are, and these are some of the messages that the Lord gave me. We are too far from God, too far away from God and his purpose and his mission. We're too materialistic, too detached from the essential human spirit, too far away from love, too far into reverting back to racism, bigotry, hatred, or not even that we're back to it, but we did move forward for a long time, but then it was this undercurrent, and that undercurrent became prominent. Okay. So that prominent emboldened people to continue to behave in those manners. Okay. So this had to get addressed. All right. Then there's a lot of disparity between the haves and the have-nots, and that gap just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So basically, mankind, we were moving away from each other. We were moving away from this element of love. And so God had to step in, because if we continue down this path that we have been on, it was going to come to fruition what is written in the Bible, where mankind will destroy himself. So right now, God is not ready for that to happen. So he put a pause button. He pressed the pause button. He's given us a second chance, but he's showing us what is possible of how this world can quickly come to a halt. Okay. Now, he used the COVID virus for two main reasons. One, that he showed me. Now, understand, there will be different empaths and different prophets and preachers and reverends, people who are spiritually connected to him that he's going to deliver his messages to. There are hundreds of us. Okay. Thousands of us. Okay. So just know you have to use your gifts of discernment to kind of draw the messages out that is applicable for you and your situation, or how it resonates with you. If this message doesn't resonate, then let it fly. Okay. It wasn't for you. So if it does, and I hope that you all are getting something out of it that will help. That's my goal. I want to help you understand what's happening. And I'm giving it to you how he gave it to me. Okay. So that said, understand that he had to use something that was universal, that impacted everybody, because all those things that I just said we're moving away from. He had to show people, you all bleed and get sick the same. Human beings are the same. No matter your race, your color, creed, your pedigree, your class, we're all the same. So he had to use something in the anatomy of a human being to connect us all. The one thing that connects everybody is blood, okay? The one thing, I'm going to say it again, the one thing that connects everybody is blood, okay? So that is, you know, like ground central station amongst all human beings. So if he attacks that, or if he infiltrates that, we all across the world have to pay attention. So he used a virus, right? Yet again, because this is not the first time. All right. So he's been giving us warnings for a long time now. This, like I said, this particular one is two. Now, there have been other viruses like H1N1, the swine flu, you know, that came from what, birds and pigs. There was the Zika virus that came from the mosquitoes. It's been all kinds of things happening. The weather patterns are changing. Global warming is changing. You know, you got tsunamis changing the coastline of continents. That's major. You've got earthquakes happening in places that typically would not have earthquakes. The food chain is changing. Look at the marine life, okay? If the sea is disrupted, we are disrupted. Like I mentioned before in other videos, everything is connected. Everything is connected. And if we don't get that understanding, you know, we're just going to continue to cause ourselves issues. Now, those are just some examples, okay? Locust plagues. Plagues. Gosh, I can't talk tonight. I'm getting tongue-tied. Locust plagues, famine, you know, in other countries, even starvation here in the United States. I mean, people, not everybody has a meal every day, you know, so I mean, it's just across the board, and it's going to get worse if we don't get our acts together. Now, what we're witnessing with this COVID-19 virus, we're witnessing God at work. It's like it's bittersweet. It's like it's harmful. You see all the devastation that's occurring as a result of it. But at the same time, you almost got to respect this because you get to see God at work. If you step back and look at this thing, it's a spiritual event, okay, that has three physical elements to it. One is health, one is economics, and the third one is family. Okay, so it's like you don't want this to happen, but look at where the world was headed. Now, maybe we could say, oh, well, it didn't have to have this happen. We could sit here and play 20 questions all day. But at the end of the day, this is what God chose. This is God's will. Everything that happens on this planet, in the atmosphere and in the deep blue sea, it is by the divine one, the Most High. Even anything that negatively happens here, it has to get his permission to occur. Now, God does not punish us to harm us. He will teach us lessons, just like a parent would teach a child. If you say, don't touch the stove is hot. Kid goes and touches the stove. You're like, didn't I tell you not to touch the stove? Kid goes, burns. Didn't I, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so now you're off to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? God is the same way. We are his children. So he teaches us lessons. But he loves us and has mercy and grace on us because we're like that little child touching the hot stove sometimes, right? So they say, like, well, we're taught. Okay, let me put it that way. We're taught, and it's in doctrine, that God is the same today as he was many ancient years ago, okay? Ancient times, okay? And there's nothing new under the sun. That being the case, you've seen God's wrath. We have historical documentation of his wrath. We also have historical documentation of his love and his mercy. God will always reconcile himself. Now, just like then, if he's the same God, he is that now. Okay? And this is where it starts to split into the different religions, depending on what you believe. I'm a Christian, so in our belief, we believe Jesus Christ, God himself, came to earth as as Emmanuel, Jesus Christ, Yahshua, call him, he goes by different names, but he came for our salvation, and so he does our bidding with God. He's like our go in between go guy. He's in between us and God. Like, we can't talk to God directly unless we go through Jesus Christ. Okay. And then the Holy Spirit, which governs all spirits, he's there too. So it's the Holy Trinity. All right. So anyway, and that's really a very broad, brushstroke of the Holy Trinity, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. But anyway, for the purpose of this, I'm going to keep it really that simple. All right. So God is showing mankind his ugliness, basically, because of all these things that keep occurring, and they keep occurring, and they keep occurring, and we just keep going down this wrong road and supposed to going down this road towards his greatest command of love. We're not headed in that direction. And so something had to break. Something, had to give. Let's say it that way. So just as God is showing us our ugliness, he's also showing us our desire to persevere, to have back and, what we had. Like, don't take our lifestyles and our lives for granted. And that's what's happened. A lot of this has been taken for granted. And he's showing us that this land of milk and honey is not to be taken for granted. If you want this, you're going to have to persevere and show me that you want it. Okay? And he does that because, again, God has dual energy. It's always the positive and the negative, the good, the bad, or good and evil, or, how everything has an equal opposite. I mean, that's just how it is. That's how God is. He has dual energy. So just like he is showing us our ugliness, he's also showing us, the beauty of it all. So we have to get back to that love space in 2020. We have to find that positive self-love and positive love for others. And we have to, work from our heart chakra. That 4, 2020 is the number 4, which is your fourth heart chakra, which is associated with love and the planet Venus. Okay. So that love, the color green, all of that has to be incorporated in 2020 for your ascension process. And as part of that ascension process, you also have to incorporate forgiveness. You have to, forgive so that you can grow. A lot of things that we experience that are hurtful, painful, that has caused us, certain emotions or bitterness or anger and things like that. This is that year to let it go. Find peace with it. Find that peace with it, because this is the year that we get to put that into action. We get to put, lay that foundation in that and become grounded in that space of love. And so if we do that, the change that is coming in 2021 will be better for us. Okay. Because 2021 is the number 5, and that is going to be change and forward movement. Okay. So things are going to pick up, and that action is going to start happening again. So we want to make sure that we're putting that goodness into that energy, okay, for 2021 as a collective. Now, if it's all about the foundation, and 2020 is about the foundation, the grounding, ask yourself, what is your foundation? What are you creating? Are you building upon like money and materialistic things? Are you building upon good or bad relationships, toxic relationships, or nurturing relationships? Are you building upon love, or are you building upon hate? Are you building upon selfishness? Are you building upon giving and giving back to society? Are you serving your community? Are you taking? Are you a taker and all you want is what you get and what you can get out of people and out of things? Or are you, serving your fellow man? Or are you abusing people? Or taking advantage of people, taking advantage of your friends and family, even strangers? I will say, be mindful that there are two populations of people that God just loves, and he hovers over them, and he watches what happens to them, and that is children and the elderly. So where everything is always like watched over and scrutinized, but the innocent children and the elderly, when you start messing with them, I know that people do that now. Trust me, they will pay the price. When he gets hold of them, they will pay the price. So please do not abuse people, okay? And none of my friends, y'all ain't supposed to be doing that no way. So, all right. And then the other thing that God is doing with the COVID-19 virus is he's realigning the human spirit. Okay, we have to get, like I keep saying it, love, love, love. We got to get back to that. Okay, and so one way that he's doing this realignment, he's forcing it on us. Like this trickle down effect of the economy, where everything is shutting down, and you're now being told work at home, or you have lost your job, or you've got you had to move to another place. Universities are closing down. Kids are having to come home. My two are here. Like, oh my goodness, it's changing my grocery bill. Two young men in this house. Y'all eat, man. You young men eat. So anyway, I mean, everything is just changing. Okay, our economics, our money is changing, but it is forcing us to have more quality time together, right? Families are being forced back together because that is what he wants. Okay, too much. The technology has taken us too far away. The texting, we don't even talk to each other as much as, humans used to talk to each other. Kids aren't talking to the parents. Parents aren't talking to the kids. I mean, the three generations aren't communicating. It's just, it's too much disparity. It's too much gap between. So he's bringing us back together, forcing that bonding. He's also, from a global perspective, he's forcing global unity. The countries have to work together, right, on this thing. He's forcing support. He's forcing collaboration. He's forcing cooperation, and he's balancing the countries out. He's leveling the countries out. The other thing that he's doing with the COVID-19, he is exposing the ill-intended persons, leaders, and administrations across the world. They're standing out now as if they didn't stand out before. Now you see them even more so, okay? You see who's misrepresenting their country, or misrepresenting the news, or misrepresenting, what's happening in their particular country. You're seeing it, okay? So, again, it's bittersweet. It's like, we don't want this to happen, but at the same time, you're really watching God work in this particular instance. If you've been aware, you've been seeing it all along. But now this one was so big, it's like smacking you in the face. It forced everybody across the world to kind of wake up and take notice. And that's what's happening. So this is like a story of caution. It's a cautionary, event, because this happened from one country. It started in China, And it spread, and it took a few months, but it spread across the world in a few months, right? It impacted everybody. Well, the Lord, when he starts coming, when revelations and all that starts to happen, and people are wondering now, is this the end of the world? Is this Armageddon and things like that? You have to understand two things. One, time is fluid. Time, we put measurements on time about past, present, and future, a minute, hour, or, a day, a month, a year. You understand? We put those measurements on time. The Lord, there is in spirit, in the ethers, there is no measurement of time. So when he says he's coming back soon, that could be, well, if he said that back in biblical times, and we're like, okay, well, he hasn't come back yet, so when is he coming back? Okay, but that's us putting our measurement of time on what he's saying. But in spirit, there is no measurement. Time just is. So that's why he could come back any day according to our day. So don't sleep on that thing about time, and notice what's happening, okay? The second thing is, when that does start to occur, the four horsemen, okay, the four horsemen are going to come from the four corners of the earth simultaneously. Okay, think about that. This happened in China. The COVID-19 happened in China, one place. And it spread across the world, and it took a few months to go across the world. When the four horsemen come, north, south, east, and west, and I might be reversed because of my camera, they're going to come simultaneously. That thing is going to just boom. It's going to happen so fast, you ain't going to know what happened. You ain't going to know what hit you. Okay? And he's coming with fire. This one was a virus. Okay? When he comes with fire from four corners of the earth simultaneously, are you kidding me? Anyway, a cautionary story is occurring right now. Okay? Understand, nations do fall. The first shall become last, and the last shall become first. And he gave you an example of how that can be. When you looked at the maps, when the COVID-19 was hitting the countries, and it hit China and Europe, okay, it hit Italy, and then it started spreading, and it came across the ocean, and it started hitting the United States. Okay, if you looked at the map at the early onset, Africa was not hit, like maybe up near Egypt, and a little bit down in South Africa, and tiny bit on the the Ivory Coast, but not major like these other countries. In South America, you saw it in Peru a little bit. You saw it in Brazil a little bit. But South America at large was not hit like these other countries. So Africa and South America, these countries where people have talked so badly about their people in the countries and have put these people down and put down their countries, well, guess what? They were like the last ones to really get hit. So all these other major players, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. They were the healthiest on the planet there for a while, okay? So he showed you just how that can happen. And that was just with something minor as a virus. When he wants to put something else in play quicker and faster and more expeditiously, that thing can flip very easily and very quickly. So keep that in mind. All right. The other thing about the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Empires fall. all the time. Okay, just like antiquity, empires fall, Rome, Persia, Carthage. Okay, these things can happen to any country in today's time, just like antiquity, just like all those major empires. China was a major empire. Okay, all these things can just be changed with the blink of an eye. This change took some months, but it didn't have to be. It took months, and he did it slowly so we could recognize it. Okay, if it happened too fast, humans are so arrogant right now that, they're not going to pay attention. But he did it slowly in the months' time. In months, everybody's like, dang, that happened so fast. 4 horsemen. Remember that. Simultaneously. Whew. All right. So, as part of this slowdown process, the world must change, like what I said. Okay? So, it has to slow down. He's done that across the board. The other pieces, the world has to heal. And then after the healing, we have to move in a positive direction. So how does the healing occur? What he showed me was the healing has to occur through more prayer, more meditation, more time with God or your divine, more effort in building a relationship with him, whoever your God is, whether it's the Lord God Almighty, whether it's Allah, whether, you're talking to the Lord Jesus Christ or your prophet Muhammad or, whoever, Buddha, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If you're a spiritual child with the universe or you're a spiritual child with Gaia, whatever, you have to spend more time with your divine. Okay? So, the other thing, he was like, improve your health. And I'm going to tell you why that's so important in a second. But he says improve your health, eat for your body type, and eat for your blood type. Research that, because your blood type and what you put in your body, it correlates. A person you got O, A, B, and AB. So you need to be eating for your blood type and your body type. And then, and I'm not saying doing this to just go off and do this. Like if you have health issues and you're working with your doctors and things like that, please, by all means, follow your doctor's instructions. But in a very broad brushstroke, okay, find out more about your body. Become one with your body, because your body is your temple where God resides. And if your body is toxic, you want God in a toxic place? Is God, he come in to help heal you, but you got to give your temple its maximum, health that you can, okay? So try to improve your health, your mind, body, soul, and spirit. That's what he was showing about your health. It's not just health like, getting strong and working out, doing that cardio and all that and lifting weights. It's also your mental health. It's your heart, your emotional health. It's your spiritual health. Okay? The other thing, I'm talking so much my throat getting dry. The other thing about healing, he wants you to work with Archangel Raphael. Archangel Raphael is the angel of healing. You also have to work with and pray for the dominion angels. The dominion angels bring in love, peace, and joy to the world. And so just like we're dealing with all of this chaos, they have to come in and help fix it. Okay? So pray for the dominion angels that they're able to do their jobs effectively, quickly. The more we pray and help them, the more they can help us. The other thing I asked the Lord about our souls, because when he was giving me all these downloads, incense and my throat is just, this is too, I've had to do this a few times. Look at this. This is getting to be messing with my allergies. All right, let me set that there. So anywho, I asked the Lord two questions. I said, where are our souls and where should they be? Okay, because he's giving me all this information. Like I said, establish a relationship. So if you ask him questions, he's going to give you answers. So I asked, where are our souls, since we're kind of messing things up, not getting it right. And then where should they be, so that we know where we need to focus on and how to get it right. So he said, and he showed me, our souls are in a place of guilt. And we need to release any beliefs that is prohibiting us and no longer assist us in our soul growth to ascension. Okay? So that's where our souls are. We're in this place of guilt, and that can be in a lot of different areas, depending on how you're thinking and you're acting and behaving. Okay? And then when I said, where should they be? Where should our souls be? He showed me balance. So he said, balance. Finding that perfect harmony without judgment. Okay? So if you get to a place of balance without judgment, that means you're cooperating with people and you're having to work together without judging each other. Okay? And it's harmony in your world and it's harmony across the world. I think I mentioned that in that December video where it starts with you and then your family and then your friends and then your local community and then your state and then your nation and countries. Okay? It's like that. It's like spreading out that balance energy. Make sure that you're praying not just for yourself and your immediate family. Pray for your generations down the line, because this thing is going to trickle down for generations to come. Okay? So pray for your children's children. This situation, and there will be others. Okay? So keep that in mind. Also pray for people in other countries. Pray for our healthcare workers, those here and abroad, because they're right in the line of fire. And then they're coming home, okay? So the family is directly in the line of fire. So please pray for these people. All right, now moving on. The second part of what the Lord told me, the second big piece of this pie, one, like I said, was he's leveling the playing ground across the nations, okay? The second one is he's evolving human beings. We are in an evolution, all right? If you remember back to, way back probably in junior high and high school, when we talked about Charles Darwin, Darwinism, natural selection, natural selection, all right? Survival of the fittest. We are going through that, and we continuously go through it. It never stops, okay? It's just a big disparity. Like, you can tell the difference between the Neanderthal man, or Neanderthal, I always say that wrong, but caveman, and what we are today. Well, what we are today, we're not going to be this and look like this and, function like this many, many, many years down the road. So we are constantly evolving, all right? So what you're experiencing, and this isn't the first time, like I said, this is SARS-2 and all those other viruses and all the other things that's happened in society and across the world. This is like, preservation of having a functional advantage over the next person or people. So that the SARS-2 virus and SARS-1, SARS period, it attacks, like we said, the respiratory system. It damages and destroys and disintegrates like your lungs, okay? So when they're talking about people have recovered from SARS, they're recovering in some cases with only 20, they're losing 20 to 30% of their lung capacity, all right? Their ability to breathe well. So those people are not going to be able to function the same as a person who has 100% capacity. You see what I'm saying? Like, if they're put into a situation or into the wild, one is going to be superior over the other. And then the other one may not make it out. Okay? So when the body starts to keep changing, and the body changes not like in major ways. It's these little microscopic, microbiological organisms, okay, that get into the body and it starts changing from the inside out, right? And it happens over time. So change in time, it's always doing this entwined weaving. Time and change. They're always connected. And so nothing stays the same, not even our bodies. So God has to use something to keep us evolving, whether it's a virus, whether it's our climate, whether it's our food. We're still evolving. Don't think this is it. It's not. So in this particular scenario that we're dealing with, it's the immune system that is dictating the change. Because if your immune system can fight off the virus, you won't get it. So you're going to have an advantage over a person who has it and may be asymptomatic, and that person and you are going to have an advantage over the person who actually had it and recovered from it, because they now have a damaged respiratory system. Viruses don't go away. Understand that viruses have their own DNA structure, and they can also have their own blood supply. They just go dormant until they really, really come up with ways to kill viruses. They can kill off bacteria. That's different, okay? A virus and a bacteria is not the same thing. Research that. They're two very different. That's why we can take antibiotics, pop a pill, and kill a bacterium. You can kill a bacteria, but you can take a pill and, or get medicine for a virus. It's just going to treat the symptoms, and the virus will go dormant, but it doesn't leave your body. Okay? So, anywho, you got a person that was sick and they got healed. You got a person who has the virus and is asymptomatic. That means they have no symptoms. And then you got a person who never had it. Natural selection, survival of the fittest, evolution of the human being is occurring. And it has always occurred. It never stopped. And it's going to continue to occur. So one of the reasons why the Lord was saying, improve your health, take stock in your health, just like you're taking notice of your stock on the stock market and your money. Look at your health, because right now this is ground zero. We are all leveled out. So if you want to improve your health, please, by all means, start doing that, because you may need it to survive. All right. And then don't get pissed off about that either. All these changes happening. Don't get pissed off with the Lord about that. Be humble to the Lord. Be humble to his will. This is God's will in play. Okay. Make the adjustments. Say your prayers. Do whatever you need to do. Make the adjustments humbly. Okay. Don't be prideful and arrogant, because he don't like that. You can read that all through the Bible. He doesn't like that. And he will respond, okay, to that. So please, just make your adjustments gracefully. What else? Technology is going to continue to change. Our health resources are going to continue to change. Our medicine is going to continue to change. And not everybody's body is going to be able to adjust and adapt to these three changes. So to give yourself the best advantage, try to, do what works for your body and again, your blood type and your body type. So where does all this leave us? Where does it leave us for the future? Being that there is no vaccine for this COVID-19, the testing is not standardized yet across this country and other countries. The testing is not standardized quite. Know the symptoms. That's the one thing you can do. Know the symptoms. Know that if you have fever, you are most contagious right before the fever and during the fever for any really, whether it's a cold, flu, SARS, COVID-19. If you got a fever, you need to really stay away from people. He did say that this will get worse before it gets better. And he did tell me, and I totally agree with this one, women, ladies, please stay out of the nail salons. He said, no, don't go to the nail salons right now. If your nails are looking like they need a fill-in, just let them continue to grow off and cut them off as they grow out, okay? Don't go there because it's too much direct contact. People are right there in your face working on your nails. You're not 6 feet away from a person. You're literally like, 2? And they're touching your hands and all that jazz. So if you can, avoid that. Have an emergency plan with your children in case something does happen to you. They know where Social Security cards, passports, birth certificates, the money, if you're keeping money in the house or money in the bank. One of the things, keep one child's name on your bank account. And these are responsible children. And of course, these is all parental, decisions. So, but it was told to remind you guys of these kinds of things. Release your fears. Try not to be so fearful about what's going on. Work with the angels, like I said. Know that God always wins, no matter what. I will say, he did say this now. He also said, and he showed it. So it's like, if you're unwilling to change your ways, like if you're stubborn, arrogant, prideful, toxic, those kinds of things, if you're not changing your ways in 2020, and I would suggest that you start early in 2020, your foundation is going to get shook up to the core. Okay? So try to move in a positive direction towards more love, giving more love, so that you will have a better foundation laid. Okay? 2019 into 2020, remember we started a new decade. So this is a new beginning. This is a new 10 years. And this is just the start. So if we want better for ourselves and our children and our children's children, at this new beginning, we must do a better job. God has given us a second chance. The social distancing is flattening the pandemic curve, but please keep in mind, this is a physical event and a spiritual event, okay? And that we have to take notice of that spiritual event. He did give me four things to do while we're kind of in this quarantine era. And that was, one, get out for fresh air. Walk the dog, cat, or get out, not, walk a cat, but, walk your pets. But get out and get some fresh air, or open the window, especially in elderly. Like if they can get fresh, they can't go out. Make sure that they're getting fresh air. Fresh air is good, but be mindful of the pollen, because you can open the window and a lot of pollen will come in, and that can set off somebody's allergies. So, but fresh air is important. Hydration. Hydration not only to stay hydrated, but also for your health and your energy levels, as well as your appetite levels. Okay, so stay hydrated for that. Some of you who are coupled up, or or maybe situationed up, those of you, there's an image of a person holding a heart, but the message was massage. So again, the heart, the green space, massage, and I saw happiness. So, massage each other, or find that love space, or find what makes you can, be together and still be happy in these times. Make sure that, like self-care treatments, but not at the nail salon, but self-care treatments that you do for yourself. Maybe you might have to do it more for yourself right now, or maybe you do it six feet away from each other and make it fun. Just make sure that you keep it happy, okay, at home. And then sunlight. Sunlight is very important for the vitamin D, and it's also ways to stay healthy, and that goes with that fresh air. So you can get fresh air, but it might, be on the sunny side of the house or the shade side of the house. So make sure you're getting sunlight, all right? And harvest your fruit or eat more fruit. I don't know, I saw the person was holding a fruit basket with the sunlight. So make sure you're eating more fruits and vegetables and exercising. And you might so that's what so exercise, not just go for walks, but you can get outside and jump rope and lift your weights and do your aerobics and stuff outside, like by in your driveway or your garage or whatever. But just keep it moving, okay? That's important for the body, for this health. All right, so that's it, you guys. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some messages out of it. Be safe, be strong, stay encouraged, be encouraged. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao now. Salah, amen. Bye.